I get a very strange feeling every time I come down here now. Yeah, sort of a disconnected feeling. Maybe I could describe it like this. About 2.5 years ago, when my mom died, she lived in a little city about 1,000 miles to the west of here, as the crow flies. Anyway, the doctor gave her about 6 months to live, and I was going out there about once a month. And it got to about the point where it was the 6 months were up. And I went out there, and Mom got progressively worse while I was there. It turns out I had decided to stay out there until she passed, which she did. And I stayed in her apartment for about another 6 months, I guess. 6 days. And took about 6 days to do get everything arranged, arranged to have everything cleaned out and, that kind of stuff. Anyway, on the morning, my last morning there, got up early, had to go catch the plane to come back here to Winnipeg. And when I closed the door for the last time and locked it and dropped the key off in the slot in the office, manager's office downstairs in her apartment block. She lived in a large block. I think there was about 50 to 60 suites in it altogether. Anyway, that doesn't matter. But I got a very strange feeling knowing that I was never coming back. I had no reason to. Mom was gone. Now, when I come down here to my workshop, at least ever since I started the model ship project, I still sort of get that same kind of funny feeling, even though I know my workshop here, and for those of you that don't know, this is a dream workshop. There's almost as much behind you as there is this way. There's a what I call my metal room, and I've got a welder and a metal lathe. The other end is a wood lathe. There's nothing I can't do. For a guy like me that likes to tinker, this couldn't be better, right? Or so you'd think. But since I started making the model ship, I wouldn't say I've lost interest. I've lost the desire to come down here and tinker. And it's a funny feeling, knowing that desire rather is gone. It sort of leaves you feeling kind of disjointed. Anyway, I've got a dowel here. I think it's probably about almost an inch in diameter. Maybe a little heavier than what I need, but it's got one bad end here. I'll just cut that off, and then I'm going to just eyeball about 6 inches, and we'll get it upstairs, and we'll do what we got to do. Anyway, where's my ear protection? Oh. Okay, in case you're wondering why is my ear protection way over there? Well, that's where the air hose has to be coupled together. And when I pull it apart after I'm through, from spraying upstairs, it makes this loud hissing sound. And I don't like the sound of it, so I put my ear protection on. Oh yeah. Eye protection. Now I'll bet you I know what you think I'm going to say. You think that I'm going to say, if you keep your eye on the blade, you'll never stick your finger in the blade. Well, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say this. Whenever you're cutting something round like this, hold it tight. Don't hold it loosely. In other words, in this case, I'm holding it tight against the back of the miter gauge. And if I was to be using my chop saw or miter saw, I would be holding it tight against the fence so that it can't start to roll. If you're holding it loose and it gets, say, just even a little bit in, and say an eighth of an inch of the way in, and you're holding it loose, it'll start to roll, and then it'll kick. And it may not hurt you, but it's sure going to give you a good scare and spoil your day. The dust collector is right there. You might be able to see it. And when I turn it on, I get this wonderful aroma of sawdust. It sort of brings back a lot of memories. Okay, now this piece here we're going to want to mount upside down on this little pedestal. And I was going to put this screw through here, but then I like right there, I was going to put the screw through right there. And then I realized, well, that's going to be where there's going to be I believe a steer well is going to go there, I think. Now this is all going to be covered over with this part here. But there are going to be okay, so this piece and this piece are this piece, and this piece. But there's going to be 3 more pieces, actually 5 more pieces, 6 more pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that are going to be mounted on there, that are going to be visible from the sides, which are also going to be painted the F-22 as I'm going to be doing these. So I'm thinking I should maybe dig them out and paint them now, even though they are not going to be put on until we get to step 42, a long time from now. So maybe I'm kind of getting the cart before the horse in a sort of a way. Anyway, I was noticing that some of these pieces were B. Well, there is a B sprue, okay, but some of them are P. P as in Peter. And I couldn't find a P sprue, and then I remembered there was this little bag of loose stuff that had come. They were already nipped off. They weren't on anything. So they're going to be in here. Okay, here it is. Don't know if you can see that or not, but it says P3, but it's pretty obvious. This is it right here, and it's going to go right here. So, in other words, this square that we're looking at right here is going to be covered. No one's going to see it. So it wouldn't hurt if I drilled a hole right through here to put my screw in from the other side. Okay, I was going to drill a hole right here in the center. And I thought I'll just stick the bit in the hand drill and it shouldn't be a problem. But then I was remembering how in the past, whenever I would use my hand drill to drill a hole in plastic or plexiglass, as you're drilling down, all of a sudden, just before it's about ready to go through, the drill bit will catch. and you'll plunge down through it, and quite often, especially with plexiglass, you will get cracks going out. Now, in all likelihood, this is not going to shatter like an ice cube or anything like that, and it would probably work. So I'm going to take this little piece down and drill this out in my drill press where I can put a steady pressure and it won't suddenly plunge through. Now, about 35 years ago or so, I bought a little drill press from a place here in Winnipeg called Canadian Tire. And Canadian Tire had it on sale for half price. Now, half price back then was, I believe, $70 or $75, something like that. And it was a good little drill press. I used it for many, many years. Then when I upgraded to the big one that I have downstairs in my workshop right now, I gave the little one away thinking I'm never going to use it. Well, I cannot tell you the number of times since I've made this model table that I wished that I hadn't given it away. It was just so handy. It was light. You could pick it up, set it on your desk or whatever, use it, and then put it away out of the way. So this morning I went online and I ordered one. Now, there is a place here in Winnipeg called Princess Auto, which is a lot like Harbor Freight. And I could have got it a little cheaper, but then by the time I paid the delivery, it was about the same price as Amazon. So we'll get the one from Amazon. And by the way, in all likelihood, some of you people have a drill press exactly like this. Now, it might be a different color, or the cover that goes over the belt, for adjusting the speed. That might be a different shape, but the rest of it will probably be identical. I think that the manufacturer, when they started making these about 35, 40 years ago, they turned them out and still are, literally by the millions, because I have seen this drill press badged so many different ways, different colors, but always basically the same casting, the same quill, the same chuck. Well, the chuck might be different, but everything's basically the same. And like I say, they probably turn them out by the millions. I'm hoping that the one that I get on Friday, and it should be here on Friday, is going to be the same quality that my old one was. The old one there was no play in the quill. Everything was just, okay, I've rambled on enough here. Okay, no one's going to see that hole. I'm just going to use this piece of wood as a washer here. And I'm going to do it by hand so I don't accidentally over tighten. I do every once in a while use a real screwdriver. That looks alright to me. Does it look alright to you? Well, let's set up to spray. Now, you remember I was talking about looking for these other pieces like B48 and 49 and 34. Well, that's like these ones right here. This is 48 and 49. And I was thinking of, painting a whole bunch of stuff all at the same time. But, there's no end to it. When we get to step 42 here, there's going to be a lot of other pieces that we're going to have to paint too. So I may as well just leave it. There's no end to trying to get ahead like this. Now, one of the viewers made the comment, and I did know this was going to happen, but when I spray down like this and try to spray along the sides here, I'll be going at an angle so as that it isn't going to get underneath, or at least hopefully it isn't. But when I do, I'm obviously going to be getting the dark paint all along what is going to be the ceiling of the shelter deck. Now, I knew I was going to do that. And I thought, well, afterwards I'll just paint it white or something, or extremely light gray, most likely white, because this can be visible when you look through envision this thing right side up. When you're looking through here, if you kind of look up a little bit, you are going to be able to see the ceiling. And I mentioned to the viewer, have you seen what Scott is doing to his piece? Like right now, Scott, Aussie Trekkie, is doing this very same piece. And he is detailing, putting all kinds of detailing, like beams that would have been across there on the real ship. So I'm not going to go to all that work. But anyway, I am aware that when I spray like this, I'm going to be getting the paint along here where I actually don't want it. But on the other hand, I'll be painting this anyway. A few minutes ago, when I was editing out those last few scenes that we were just looking at, my doorbell rings. And the mailman hands me a little box. And I sort of panicked because I could not remember what I had ordered. Well, actually I didn't order this. I think I know what this is. But then it says eBay here. And I do remember, well, let's just open it and find out. Okay, yes, it is what I had thought it was. That is, once I got over my fear that I'd forgotten what I'd ordered. Okay. Now some of you may remember. Thank you for your order. Hope you enjoy. Now this is interesting. Okay, this looks like a brand new, never used New York souvenir mug. Now that is to replace, if you remember, I cracked my original, and one of the viewers had said, I'm going to send you a mug. Well, there it is. Well, let's try it out here. Now my Raptors mug is going to be very jealous. We're going to have to alternate between the two because, I was asking my son the other day, I said, do you remember when we got this Raptors mug? Because it's been in the family for quite a while. And I thought that possibly one of the boys had got it back when the Toronto Raptors were doing really, really well in the NBA. And we were actually following them. It's one of the few sports that I can figure out what's going on. Well, golf is another one. Anyway, let's just try it out here. I think that should fit. All right. Let's put this in the microwave and warm it up, and yeah. So thank you to that viewer. Thank you very much. I'll have to dig it out now and find out who sent it, and I'll have to put it in the superimpose it in the video here. Yeah, I'm kind of speechless. Now, I don't know if you heard that, but that was my very first sip from my new New York mug. So, yeah. Thank you. Now, we've got to get going here, or I'm not going to have time to spray. Here's some 22 that we used in the past. It's obviously been thinned out because it's in a little jar all of its own here. I just shook it up real good, and we'll just see how watery does it look here. It does look like it's fairly thin. I must not have had the cap on very tight there when I was shaking it, but it felt tight. But I guess it must have. Oh well, it doesn't matter. Okay, let's just add just a tiny bit more of thinner to it. Just a little bit. That'll take care of any evaporation that may have been going on. And give it another little shake up here. Kind of wondering though, I know that I had indicated we were going to spray today, but it is after 1 already, and I still haven't done the final edit, and I want to be able to take my time at this. You know, we're going to be spraying this piece and maybe this piece, and for sure the big piece. Yeah, so I think we're going to leave the spraying until tomorrow. I know that seems to be, you're hearing that a lot lately, that I say I'm going to do something and then I don't do it. Because we run out of time, you know, stuff happens, and well, I'm glad I had the lid on when I did that. Okay, thanks for watching, folks. And all being well, we'll see you tomorrow, and I don't see any reason why we won't be spraying tomorrow.